Yes, welcome everyone to Stamford Bridge on this January afternoon. It's a cold afternoon. The teams are out there taking off their tracksuit tops in the case of Chelsea, and the players just going around and slapping hands. There's a big blue flag being unfurled above the heads of the supporters in the lower tier of the Matthew Harding stand to our right, with the lion rampant in the middle of it. London's first, London's finest. It says at the top, the pride of London at the bottom. And they've also unveiled another big blue flag at the other end, just next to where all of the Tottenham fans are, with the various trophies that Chelsea have been winning over the course of the last 20 years or so, when things have not gone quite so well on the trophy front for Tottenham, as you'll be well aware. So it is Chelsea against Tottenham for the fourth and not necessarily final time this season. They are both still going in the FA Cup. It's the third time that they've played each other in 2022 alone, the third time in 19 days, Matt, yet they're still able to keep us guessing with the team selection.
Oh, we're getting tired of this fixture, John, aren't we? I mean, it's just been a rivalry, hasn't it? To have the two semi-finals, it certainly keeps you on your toes, and the changes they've made today, the curveball of Tanganga in midfield, if that is where he's going to play, I'm just keeping my eye on the pitch now. It looks to be over at the right back position.
Well, he does, yeah. And Doherty's further forward, so let's just see how it... I think we're on fairly safe ground with Chelsea, which is Kepa, a back four of Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Thiago Silva and Malang Sarr, who's come in to play where he did in the semi-final. Jorginho and Kovacic in the middle, Ziyech, Mount, Hudson-Odoi and Lukaku. And remember, I mentioned the three previous matches this season. Chelsea have won all three and have actually won it by an aggregate of 6-0 in those three matches. The World Service are with us as well. World Service listeners, welcome to you to West London and inside Stamford Bridge for this derby match between Chelsea and Tottenham. Joining us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, we're just about ready for kick-off. Paul Tierney's the referee. He was actually in charge of the league match back in September when Chelsea won well at Tottenham by 3-0. And the players take a knee, and there's the applause. An acknowledgement of the gesture that the players continue to make against discrimination and racism. And it's Tottenham who get us underway. The ball played straight back into the back line. Eric Dyer making his return for Tottenham, strikes it right-footed away downfield, and it bounces out of play via... it's actually a foul on Ziyech, and it's a free kick to Chelsea halfway inside their own half. Well, it looks to me as though Tanganga's playing at the back, not in midfield. But let's see how this develops.
I mean, it looks like a 4-4-2.
It looks like a 4-4-2,
yeah. Which there was going to be something different. Well, like you say, whether it was a player playing out of position or a change of shape, he certainly has done something different here, Conte.
Yes, he has. After the two defeats in the semi-final matches, Lukaku in the middle, and he gets right underneath the shot. The cross from the right flank. It was Mason Mount who was out there, did well actually, got the ball in to Lukaku, who was to the right of the penalty spot, so it was probably 13-14 yards out. Chance to score, but he got underneath it and hiked it over the bar with his right foot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can hit the target here, John. I think he'll be disappointed. It's early on in the game. The ball comes in from the right. It's slightly behind him. He does this lovely little shuffle to pull off the back of Dyer, who's not quite aware of where he is. He gets too much space, Lukaku. It bounces in front of him. It's a little bit high, and he just can't get his knee over the ball to hit the target. Lovely movement from Lukaku, I will say. Pulled off brilliantly, but just couldn't get the strike on goal.
Well, Eric Dyer missed both of the semi-final matches. He's missed the last 4 actually through injury and illness, and he is playing, and there's been lots of discussion, Matt, your old position, central defender, about how well suited Dyer is to playing in a back 4 as opposed to 3 central defenders.
Yeah, I mean, I understand those comments. I don't see him as being a player that is particularly suited well to a back 4. The back 3's really helped him. I think it allows him to showcase his ability on the ball, which I think is one of his key assets. But certainly in that partnership of Sanchez and Dyer, in terms of the understanding, the movement, maybe the lack of mobility from Dyer in terms of runs behind, causes him a few problems, and those little short areas in and around the box. So for a 3 for me, he does look a lot better, but he's got the opportunity to play in a 4 today.
Chelsea are attacking from right to left towards the shared stand, and Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side plays it in, and it's deflected out of play off the Chelsea man for a throw-in to Tottenham. And without wishing to blow my own trumpet, Matt, the Tottenham lineup is actually as I wrote it down.
Is that the one I told you, John?
I think we consulted them
Together. Joint effort.
Yes. Kane playing the ball through to the star of Wednesday night at Leicester for Tottenham, Bergwijn, who can't get onto that, and Sarr is able to play it back to goalkeeper Kepa, who clears it away downfield, and Tottenham put it out for throwing to Chelsea halfway inside their own half. So the Tottenham team, Lloris in goal, the captain, just signed his new contract. Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer and Davis, the back four. Actually, Dyer playing as the right-sided and Sanchez the left-sided. Doherty on the right, Sessegnon on the left, Højbjerg and Winks in the middle, then Bergwijn and Kane. Chelsea sweeping forward. Here's Mount on the right, receives it from Lukaku out towards the far side, the right side. The ball curled into the back post. Hudson-Odoi with a chance. Tanganga went with him, but he just seemed to be at the wrong height for Hudson-Odoi. I just thought he was going to get the header in on goal, and I'm not sure he managed to get too much contact on that at all, and it was beyond the far post.
Did he even try and head it? It didn't even look like he had much of a movement of his head towards the ball at all. The moment it gets set back from Mount to Ziyech, you know this is going to get whipped in with his left foot. He's got a lovely left foot from that right hand side. He curls it lovely towards the back post with Hudson-Odoi arriving, and he just mistimes it. I think John, he could get much more contact on the ball, at least make Lloris make a save.
So it is Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. 5 Live Premier League Sunday with Hudson-Odoi playing it through to Kovacic. Kovacic, clever run down into the full-back position. Then back to Chelsea's number 20, Hudson-Odoi, on his right foot, plays it right across the edge of the box. Ziyech is there. Ziyech playing it out towards the right flank. Azpilicueta, then back to Ziyech again near the right corner of the box. Then back to Azpilicueta. Here's the cross to the back post, but Tanganga was underneath it for Tottenham, and then it's headed further away by Højbjerg on the edge of the box. Winks comes through one challenge, but he's got blue shirts all around him. I think he was fouled there as well. Paul Tierney says yes, he was. Chelsea disputed, but it's a free kick to Tottenham halfway inside their own half.
Yeah, certainly looked a foul from Mason Mount. Arrived a little bit late and just caught Winks as he was squirming through players with the ball. That area of the pitch is going to be so key this afternoon. That central area. Can Winks and Højbjerg, can they cope with the amount of different players from Chelsea that enter in that area, whether it be Mount, Kovacic, Jorginho, Hudson-Odoi? You know, they really do interchange well in that area of the pitch. So those two have really got their work cut out.
And we do have a choice of listening, by the way, for you. If you've got your digital radio or BBC Sounds, the Champions Cup Rugby Union is on 5 Live Sports Extra right now, and that is the Munster Wasps game. So that is your choice currently. It is the Premier League here at Stamford Bridge, and Sarr, left-footed ball downfield. Eric Dyer's underneath that, but Kovacic gets a foot to it near the halfway line, then it bounces back for Lukaku, strong in the challenge there, and then Sanchez puts the challenge in as well, just forward of the centre circle. Chelsea come out with the ball. Hudson-Odoi again on the left-hand side. Tottenham have got 2 men on him. Hudson-Odoi still going. Plays it back centrally. Jorginho is there, Chelsea's top scorer. Ziyech on his left foot shoots, and that's deflected near the edge of the box, which took it wide and away and behind. I think it came off Davis for a corner for Chelsea.
It's building, John, isn't it? That Chelsea dominance that we've seen in this game, especially early on in the match. They're starting to really assert themselves. Good passing. Lukaku really physical there. Bounced Tanganga. I think he sat Højbjerg down as well with a shoulder charge in the middle of the park.
So it's a corner for Chelsea. Referee Tierney just says, hang on a minute, just going to have a word with, well, it's Lukaku, and the Tottenham have got him in a sandwich. Harry Kane's on one side. The latest score, by the way, Munster 31, Wasps 7. Here's the corner for Chelsea. It's an outswinger, and a huge group of players. There must have been 6 or 7 of them there. Must have been a Chelsea head that sent it looping goalwards, and Lloris was able to make the catch, and then Tottenham played away downfield, but Chelsea were able to see it back to goalkeeper Kepa. 7 minutes played, Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. Our second commentary of the afternoon on 5 Live Premier League Sunday after the Liverpool match that we were talking about. We've already heard live from Jurgen Klopp. So Liverpool now 9 points behind Manchester City with a match in hand. So Manchester City 57 points, Liverpool 48, and then Chelsea with 44. But as as we were saying before the match, if Tottenham can win this, Tottenham would move into the top 4 in the table. And actually coming into this match, Tottenham are 8 points behind Chelsea, but Tottenham have got 4 matches in hand.
I mean, when you say it like that, and you look at the points that Spurs have got, and they haven't had a lot of compliments in terms of that they're playing well or there's players doing it. There's not a lot of positive chat around the playing performances, is there, from Tottenham? But their points tally and the way they're accumulating points is really impressive. I think they're a dangerous team at the moment. They could, be in and around that top 4 easily.
Ziyech now receives it on the edge of the box, a left-footed ball through the inside right position, but Tottenham were alive to it, and it was swept behind, left-footed for another Chelsea corner. But nice movement from Chelsea around the edge of the Tottenham box. It's put behind by Sessegnon. So it's another corner. And Chelsea have got Lukaku on the edge of the box. There's that Tottenham sandwich again. Now Azpilicueta's joining them there as well. And then there are 4 players near the penalty spot for Chelsea. Here's the delivery, and Thiago Silva with a header. He got up in amongst that group of players, maybe 8 or 9 yards out, but headed it comfortably over the top by a yard or 2.
Yeah, it was Davinson Sanchez who just did enough to jump into Thiago Silva and put him off. I think Ben Davies was in there as well, but the trouble when you are zonal like that, if you allow a player like Thiago Silva 3 or 4 strides in a run-up, John, to come and attack it, and you're in a standing position, it's very, very hard to compete well. And Sanchez just did enough jumping in and putting him off for getting a clear header on goal.
So Chelsea, a couple of chances. Thiago Silva with that header, and Lukaku with the early shot. I can tell you in the Spanish league this afternoon, Real Madrid are losing at home to Elche, and there's over an hour played. Elche winning 1-0. Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. Speaking of Real Madrid, we're still no nearer knowing what's going to happen with Antonio Rudiger, who is just standing up and playing the ball forward, but actually there was a foul on Kane, so it's a free kick to Tottenham, 7 or 8 yards inside the Chelsea half. So
it's quite a fresh trim, that Harry Kane sporting today. Seen that yet, John?
I have not seen a close-up of it yet. Is it?
Yeah, nice short back and sides.
Yeah, well, that is very much in the Harry Kane style, isn't it? Short back and sides. Nothing silly. Højbjerg playing it square towards the left-hand side. Winks. Now to Dyer on the right. He's another short back and sides man. Sometimes crew cut. Dyer taking it to the edge of the area. Still going. Dyer. Then it ball bounces back to him. Dyer. Absolutely. He's all over Thiago Silva. I mean, he lands on Thiago Silva.
I don't know if it wasn't a rugby tackle, was it? How do we describe that, John?
It was a 2 falls and a submission, isn't it? It was like a big daddy splash.
Yeah,
for those who remember.
It was a melee, then a body slam.
Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. 10 minutes played. Here's Hudson-Odoi playing the ball all the way over to the right-hand side. Azpilicueta is there, and now out it goes towards the far side, and Ziyech is moving infield. Nice footwork. Ziyech scored the Chelsea goal against Brighton in midweek. Left foot shot from him, and this goes down. And got 2 hands to it. I mean, it was relatively close to him. And
surprising.
Whether there was a bit of wobble on that, or whether it took a deflection, but it was a rather odd save, falling to his right and patting it away.
Massively surprised that he didn't catch this, Lloris. Ziyech, who's been very bright, lovely footwork. I mean, that's a very simple catch for a goalkeeper. It's not got a lot of movement either. He's just curled it with his left foot, which has some spin, but it's pretty consistent. And for him not to catch that, he's opted to punch it away. And he's made his defenders have to deal with it. He should be catching that.
Tottenham actually have got themselves a free kick in their own right back position, and it's going to be left to Lloris to take. So Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham with an absolutely dreadful record here, as any good Tottenham fan will know. The actual fact is they've won only 1 of their last 36 League and Cup matches against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which was actually not that long ago, the win back in 2018 when Dele Alli scored 2 of the goals in a 3-1 win. Tanganga takes this throw up onto the chest of Bergwijn. Lucas Moura on the bench for this one. Bergwijn starting, that's his reward for the remarkable feat of scoring those 2 goals right at the end of the match against Leicester in midweek. Throw into Tottenham again. Tanganga takes it this time to Harry Kane, who comes and just lifts the ball high into the middle of the Chelsea half. Azpilicueta comes forward, he heads it into Tottenham territory, but Davis is now taking it forward for Tottenham down the left hand side. Davis now is being tracked all the way by Ziyech, who did very well. Ball breaks for Spurs though. Højbjerg up towards the edge of the box, but his pass, his square pass, was intercepted by Kovacic, who sped into position in between Højbjerg and Harry Kane, who was the intended target. And now Chelsea break forward, but Kane is there to win it back just in front of where Antonio Conte is standing. Tottenham, that's nice from Winks. He's around Kovacic. Now it's opening up for Harry Winks. Left foot shot, but Kepa is able to go down to his left and smother it quite comfortably. Winks just didn't get the power behind it.
A lovely footwork from Harry Winks to get past Jorginho, who can be got at when you run at him with the ball, but he drives inside. Tanganga's made a really good run just to draw the defender away, but it was on Winks' left foot. Never really felt comfortable he was going to get a really clean strike on the ball to trouble Kepa, but nice opening from Tottenham. They've physically looked a little bit sharper, John, I'll say, like snapping into the tackle, loose balls, looking quite quick with their footwork in terms of taking players on 1v1.
Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. 5 Live Premier League Sunday, World Service are with us, BBC Sounds as well if you're on the move. And remember, you can pause and rewind the live radio via BBC Sound, which is a wonderful thing. Here's Sarr inside his own half, playing it to Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side. Antonio Conte shuffling forward. He's very nearly in Thomas Tuchel's technical area as Tuchel's Chelsea team swing the ball out towards the right-hand side. Comes back to Jorginho on his right foot to Mount near the right corner of the box. Azpilicueta curls one to the back post. Tanganga wasn't sure where Hudson-Odoi was, and actually backing away did quite well to glance a header back and behind and out for a throw.
Well, what I liked was Hudson-Odoi just gambled on him, the fact that he was going to miss it, didn't he? He made the run hoping Tanganga wasn't able to make any kind of contact on the ball, which I think every good, especially from a wide area, you should just gamble in that situation, which is what Hudson-Odoi did. But you're right, Tanganga just got enough on the ball to glance it out for a throw-in.
Throw-in taken to Lukaku, who just tried to lay it off to Kovacic, but that didn't work. And Tottenham clear it up towards Bergwijn, bouncing ball. Jorginho hooked a leg at it, sent it forward. Then Sanchez in the D, under no pressure, was just volleyed it up in the air. And I think it was Harry Winks was absolutely furious with him. Winks punched the air in anger, but Sanchez couldn't deal with that, and Tottenham rather fortunately after that, and actually Eric Dyer now is saying to Davinson Sanchez, what could you have done there? He's pointing back at Hugo Lloris, saying the goalkeeper was
his fault. He told me to do it. He just panicked. He was on his left foot. I mean, having the ball in those situations isn't his strong point. I think he's a combative defender who likes to tackle, get tight, head the ball, and he just panicked in that situation a little bit.
And here is Sanchez now up against Mount. A nice initial touch from Mason Mount. Took the ball out into the full-back position, and Sanchez came across, Davinson Sanchez, and it is another Chelsea corner from the right. You're also making a point, I know we've spoken about Dyer playing as one of the two, but Davinson Sanchez as well.
Yeah, no, I think that they haven't had, and I think past managers would see that they haven't had a really strong centre-back partnership since Alderweireld and Vertonghen in a back four, and I think they've struggled with that, which is why Conte, for me, has had a lot of success with the three.
This Chelsea corner is going to be taken from by Mason Mount, and again referee is holding things up because this time it's Rudiger and Eric Dyer who are in discussion with the referee. Then four Chelsea players near the penalty spot. The delivery is an outswinger to the near post, headed away by Sessegnon, and then Bergwijn got a touch in there ahead of Hudson-Odoi, and actually Tottenham are off on the counter-attack here. Still Bergwijn against Hudson-Odoi, who's left on the ground. Not sure whether the ball might have gone out of play, but it has now, because sliding challenge from the covering Kovacic, and it's a throw to Tottenham.
I mean, that is Steven Bergwijn, isn't it? He's just this impact power player. Can be a bit scruffy on the eye, in terms of percentages. Does he deliver in consistency? Maybe not, but he's certainly effective, and he showed there he's got real pace and power when he wants to turn it on.
Sanchez doing well against Lukaku. Cheers from the Tottenham fans down to our left for that. But Chelsea are back on it again. Here's Kovacic, one of Chelsea's players of the season so far. Forward and right of the centre circle. He had options either side in Chelsea blue, and then Sarr passes the ball out of play under pressure from Doherty, and the way that he's gone down and has rolled over several times is trying certainly to give the impression that he was forced to do that by the challenge from Doherty, and that he feels he was fouled.
Well, it's slightly after the ball goes, and I think it's the stride. It's a nasty stamp from Doherty, really catches Sarr on the ankle as he plants, so he just kind of rolls it over, and I can see why he's laying on the floor in considerable pain, and this could be a problem for Sarr.
Well, VAR are having a look at this as a potential red card.
Not a red card.
Well, it must be. What else could they be looking for?
It has to be done, I suppose, if we're looking at it, but
if this
it's clumsy. It's clumsy, John, and I don't think he means to. It's just it's stamped on him as he's laid the ball off. He's not got the timing right of his foot placement.
Well, he puts his foot, and what makes this look worse is the where he caught Sarr, which was right on the ankle. Sarr's leg bends quite awkwardly. There's quite a significant.
He's hurt himself. He's rolled his ankle. You can see quite clearly when as he plants, he stands on it and he's rolled his ankle. But
is that serious foul play, or is that just where Matt Doherty is placing his foot?
No, it's not a red card, and I find it hard that it's even been looked at, to be honest, because it wasn't a real.
VAR's complete.
It wasn't a real vicious foul play situation. It's one of those clumsy coming togethers. It's annoying to be on the receiving end of it, but it happens, and you just got to kind of get on with it.
And also that doesn't look good in slow motion. One of those challenges, but I'm not sure. You talk about that being serious foul play. To my mind, there was no intent of serious foul play by the Tottenham player.
I don't know why it was looked at.
Well, it's being looked at, and it's not a red card, and it's still 11 against 11. And what's the most important is Sarr okay? This 22-year-old who has made quite an impact this season, Malang Sarr. Well, he was 22. Because he's actually 23 today, so happy birthday, Malang. Little present there from Matt Doherty.
Wrap that up with a bow.
Yes. Well, he's okay, the birthday boy, and he's able to continue. And let's just keep an eye on him.
It's one of those, though, John, that you might finish the game or get to half-time, but tomorrow morning, that could be a bit sore. It's one of those ankle rolls or kicks that gets worse the day after.
Well, he's got a week off now for it to get better. Here's Kovacic, square back to Jorginho, still 0-0, 5 live on the World Service. Azpilicueta now on the right hand side. Ziyech is out there with the green boots on. Azpilicueta, the overlapping run, and then the cross to the back post that is put out of play by a hopping Tanganga inside the 6-yard box. Just to nod it behind, and it's another corner to Chelsea, who have had the better of things, no question. Harry Winks with that one chance when it opened up for him, but Chelsea with a string of chances.
I've been quite impressed with the way Tottenham have got amongst them a bit more, though, John. A bit more competitive. The midfield especially applying more pressure. Just that tackle on Sarr there from Doherty indicates that they're pressing the ball and hunting Chelsea down a little bit more.
Ziyech to take this one, and he's standing up the touchline, so narrow angle as he comes in and strikes it to the back post. Rudiger heads it across the box. Winks jumps, heads it away, and then it's nodded further away by Bergwijn. Kovacic is onto this first in the middle of the Tottenham half, gives it to the left. Cross in from Ziyech, looked good. You could hear the gasps from the Chelsea supporters up here at the top of the East Stand, but Tottenham dealt with it, and then the ball is out of play, and Mason Mount bundled into the Tottenham player out there and sent him bouncing off the pitch.
Tanganga?
And and he's actually nearly slipped on the surround there and bounced into the advertising hoarding. So actually a number of the players are gathered around here now, and there's a little bit of a schmozzle going on. It's not a scuffle. The players are milling around, and words are being exchanged. So we've had the challenge on Sarr, which I think has spiked things up a little. And now we've got this one as well, where Mount just... Did he give him a shove? Did he give him a tiny push?
Yeah, it was a body check, but it was entitled to. It was one of those, as the ball's going out of play, he's just trying to usher the ball out of play. And if I'm honest, I felt Tanganga has got to have a look at the advertising boardings are just there, and you're going to run out of pitch, and you have to put the brakes on a little bit earlier, and he couldn't, and smashed straight into the advertising hoardings.
Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0, and that's Matthew Upson here at Stamford Bridge with us. England World Cup player, Premier League defender. You'll have played here many times, Matt, and with your various club shirts on over the years. Over the course of, it's been an incredible 20 years, that they've had. Nearly 20 years next year since Roman Abramovich took charge. And Chelsea in that time have been more successful than any other English club, any other Premier League club. Chelsea have got more trophies. And they've got another cup final to look forward to next month against Liverpool. Here's Mount on the right-hand side. Mount, I thought the ball had bounced out of play, but the assistant over there says no. And Mount keeps going. Ziyech, now to the corner of the box, Azpilicueta. Mount again, back to Ziyech. Left-footed curler into the box, looking for Lukaku, but it's headed away by Dyer, who is right in front of Chelsea's number 9. And Tottenham have played it forward towards Bergwijn, who takes it past Thiago Silva and is caught by the experienced Chelsea central defender, and Paul Tierney produced that yellow card in a flash.
But I'm with you, John. I thought the ball was out of play over the far side a moment ago, but that's the second time Bergwijn has used that direct running, bullish type play to hurt Chelsea. He did it once earlier wide, and that one was against Thiago Silva, who got the yellow card. And every opportunity he needs to run him, he just needs to get the ball and drive at him with it and make him do something, because he's just got this ability to strike a little bit of fear into defenders when he does that, Bergwijn.
A clear Conte instruction, Matt, do you think?
Yes, I think so. I think that's his asset. Why not use it? And especially with Thiago Silva now in a yellow card, playing in a back four, he's just got to try and isolate him as much as he can and use his power and pace.
Came back into the reckoning, Bergwijn, on Wednesday at Leicester, having missed the previous 5 matches. And there has been a bit of talk around that he might have been heading back to his native Netherlands this month, but maybe events have changed things. Winks then overhits the pass downfield and straight out of play for a throw into Chelsea inside their own half.
It must be hard for clubs to, before you make those decisions with the current situation and how thin squads are, it's put a lot of pressure on those kind of situations, isn't it? Whether to let players go or to keep them because you need the squad.
Chelsea again coming down the right-hand side with Mount. Lukaku in the middle. Sliding challenge comes in on Mason Mount, and deflection out of play for a throw after Højbjerg, who's got a muddy smear across the back of his white Tottenham shirt. Lily white no longer. Throw in for Chelsea, back towards Rudiger, nearer the halfway line. He goes back to the halfway line to Thiago Silva. That was the first yellow card of the match that Thiago Silva received there. Chelsea with it inside their own half. There was actually quite a nice... I think I'm right in saying that Antonio Conte came out early before the match, and there was quite a nice reaction to him from the Chelsea supporters, as Hudson-Odoi is bundled over by a combination of Doherty and Tanganga, and it's a free kick to Chelsea.
I'm sure there was. I mean, amazing success here, real impact he had in his first season.
Yeah.
Very similar to approach to what he's done with Tottenham, really, wasn't it, with that group of players, which was probably a slightly stronger squad than what Spurs had.
Yeah, he came out well before Thomas Tuchel or the players, and the Chelsea fans spotted him. There's balls played forward by Ziyech, but headed down by Davinson Sanchez. Tottenham played forward towards Harry Kane. Tottenham top scorer tries to slip it forward for Bergwijn, but just overhits that, and it runs away through to goalkeeper Kepa, all in orange inside his penalty area. And the Chelsea fans thanking Conte for the Premier League and the FA Cup, and it's a good time to do that, isn't it, when Chelsea have just beaten Conte's Tottenham twice this month and knocked them out of the Cup. So Chelsea with the ball on the halfway line. Azpilicueta comes back to it. Chelsea will be going off to Abu Dhabi next month to take part in the FIFA Club World Cup. And here's Jorginho. His pass forward was actually straight into Højbjerg near the edge of the box, and Doherty now running the ball out towards the right-hand side, and then Callum Hudson-Odoi with the challenge to knock it out.
What's the setup with that, John? I mean, how many games can they play? Two matches.
It's a semi-final. Yeah. And the two teams there could potentially meet. Will play each other in the quarterfinals, and then so the semi-final, which Chelsea will be overwhelming favourites to win, and then presumably the final against, I think it's Palmeiras, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Who are there as the South American champions. Supposed to be in Japan last month, but has been moved to Abu Dhabi. Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. And we'll have more reaction at half-time to the earlier three matches in the Premier League. Finished Arsenal 0, Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 3, and Leicester 1, Brighton 1. Chelsea with it on the halfway line. Ball played up towards Hudson-Odoi. 6:06 to come later with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Read about it all on the BBC Sport website and app, and then watch the highlights on Match of the Day 2 tonight. And then of course there will be the 5 Live Football Daily podcast for you to download and hear all of the interviews. As I say, we've already heard from Jurgen Klopp. He'll be on there, I'm certain, as the ball is chipped away towards the halfway line for Bergwijn, who's challenged by Thiago Silva and bundled over. I'm not suggesting that's a second yellow card challenge by any means.
No,
it's a free kick.
No, it wasn't a booking, but again, Bergwijn really making a nuisance of himself, makes a really good run into the channel. You can see Dyers coming out with the ball in that right-sided centre-back position. There's no option, but there's a big space on that left-back side for Chelsea, and he clips the ball in there, knowing that Bergwijn's got the pace. He gets across, and Thiago Silva at the moment, I don't think quite knows how to handle Bergwijn, just nudges him from behind and gives the foul away.
Højbjerg blatantly body checks Ziyech 10 yards inside the Tottenham half. He was trying to take it forward, and Højbjerg just came across and took him out. It's a free kick. Is that going to be a yellow card?
No. Not even thinking about it, is he, the referee? He's not even looked like
that could have been.
It was a clear obstruction, wasn't it? And the momentum of Ziyech, I mean, he gets nowhere near the ball, Højbjerg doesn't touch the ball, does he? Just like you say, body checks in. Certain yellow card in my view.
And I can tell you, Matt, Elche are now winning 2-0 away against Real Madrid in La Liga. The 3 o'clock kickoff in the Women's Super League has finished West Ham 3, Everton 0. Earlier there were wins for Manchester United, Aston Villa, Reading, but the champions, Chelsea, Emma Hayes Chelsea, were held to a 0-0 draw by Brighton. So 0-0 for Chelsea, and a little bit later on Sports Extra, 6:45, you can hear the Manchester City Arsenal match in the Women's Super League on 5 Live Sports Extra at 6:45. But 0-0 here, Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0, half an hour played, Chelsea with the better of the chances so far, and Chelsea, after that free kick, just knocking the ball around in the central third. Malang Sarr seems okay after that challenge from Doherty. Jorginho overhits the ball through the inside left position, and it runs away from Lukaku, who acknowledges the intent from the pass, but he's not scored in the last 3. Lukaku, and I have to say, what we've seen of him so far today, he's looked rather out of sorts.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's been out of sorts for quite some time in terms of being the goal threat that he has been over the past season or two. For me, his strength has been more his hold-up play. I think he's linked up pretty well. But in terms of what Chelsea have really bought him for, which is to put the ball in the back of the net, he hasn't done it this season anywhere near as enough as what they'd hoping to. And I was looking at Thomas Tuchel then, he was very frustrated with Jorginho playing that pass, kind of really indicated be more patient, because Spurs are actually setting up pretty well. They're quite organised. Doherty's playing really narrow, is tucking inside into that middle of the park to support Winks and Højbjerg. It leaves Tanganga a little bit exposed out on the right hand side, but you know, in terms of Chelsea breaking them down with their passing, they're not getting too much joy.
Well, that's what they're trying to do now. It's been given to Mount on the right hand side, who has taken it on from the halfway line. He's got support from Ziyech, then back to Mount, early cross. Lukaku's missed it. Hudson-Odoi has got it in the back post. Lots of white shirts in there. He turns, gives it back to Kovacic, went straight through Lukaku. Now Azpilicueta to Mount, the pass was short from him, and it's cleared away by Sessegnon and out of play near the halfway line. What a chance for Lukaku.
I'm looking at Tuchel again. It's not often you see him that animated. He looks really on edge on his technical area, a bit frustrated, putting his hands in the air, but out of sorts, John. is the phrase, isn't it? I mean, that was straight at him. A striker that is confident, on point at the moment, just tucks that away. It's a brilliant first-time cross from Mount. He just gets the timing wrong. He gets just across the face of Dyer on his right foot as well, just able to cushion that in with the side foot, misses the ball completely.
Well, that was the miss of a centre-forward who knows there is scrutiny on him. Lukaku, here he is again. Ball played in from Hudson-Odoi, but it's over the top of Lukaku, who was going down, it seemed, at the time, and it just whizzed over the top of his head and through for a goal kick.
Yeah, he just kind of tried to glance this ball on. Again, good hold-up play. It's the one part that I think he's done really, really well. He gets then in the box as the ball comes in, and he wants to glance the ball. It's a difficult one to steer that goalwards. But you're right in terms of when you feel the scrutiny's on you, you can sometimes try too hard, and it can play havoc with you mentally. And I'm not too sure if that's something that he controls that well. I don't think anyone can control it that well. It's a really difficult thing to manage, but he's certainly got that feel about it, hasn't it?
And that can be the case in any position.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be anywhere, not just a striker. It's more pressure on strikers because you're mainly the most expensive player that's been bought, and you're more often than not, you're the big name of the team. You're the centre forward that scores the goal. So perhaps that's why it weighs a little bit heavier, but it can happen anywhere on the field.
Yeah, but it's all too obvious in Romelu Lukaku's position, and that little incident there, that'll be replayed and replayed. Yeah. The way that he missed that chance, it was just through him. It's almost beaten for pace, wasn't he? He was almost yoked by it.
Sometimes you just got to take a step back. I mean, I'm sure he wants to do so well, and now he's desperate to get that goal.
Here's Azpilicueta chasing onto a ball in the box that was played nicely through, and it was blocked behind by Sanchez, who went with the Chelsea captain, and he gets a firm handshake actually by Antonio Rudiger for winning the corner. Azpilicueta. So corner from the right hand side. They've got it out there quickly to Mount. They've got a clear plan with this corner. It's the same formation again. Players group near the penalty spot, then they run in all directions. Here it is from Mount, headed away. Kane got underneath that. Out to Hudson-Odoi, who gives it back to Mount. Now back to Hudson-Odoi. He's got some space here to play it in from the angle, but he plays it straight onto the head of Højbjerg, who is able to head it away to Kovacic. It's still 0-0 between Chelsea and Tottenham here in the Premier League, and Tottenham win a free kick halfway inside their own half.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting opening 35 minutes here. I think Spurs have done pretty well. The best I've seen them start out of the last three meetings, I would say. They've just got a bit more pressure in the middle of the park.
Højbjerg is caught by Mount. That's a little bit late. Free kick to Tottenham.
There's been a bit more needle in this game as well, I'll say, than the cup matches. A little bit more, physical contact, little touches off the ball, blocks, body checks, all of that.
So I suppose when you play each other 3 times in 19 days,
yeah,
that's always possible that something like that might happen.
Yeah,
familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah, it is quite weird as well because you get to know the players you're playing against much better, and you get to know what they do, what their little weaknesses or what their strength is. And I think both these players, like I say, have had a lot of game time against each other of late, and perhaps you're seeing that in this first 35 minutes that it's quite even in terms of goal scoring opportunities.
Got two of the top strikers in European football in these two teams, Harry Kane at one end, Lukaku at the other, and in these matches this month neither of them has scored a goal yet. Yeah. Here's Hudson-Odoi being leaned into by Tanganga, and that's going to be a yellow card. Now Hudson-Odoi might have been away down the left hand side, but it was only 6 or 7 yards inside the Tottenham half, and I think the Tottenham players, Dyer, Harry Kane's come across as well. Tanganga certainly is protesting that he's been booked for that.
I can't believe he's had a yellow card. He's still protesting. I don't blame him, if I'm honest. I've just seen the replay, and yes, it's a foul. He's just been a bit done by the movement, but he just puts his left arm out across Hudson-Odoi, who does go down incredibly easy. It is a foul, but that's never been a yellow card.
It's right in front of where Thomas Tuchel was standing as well, and whether there was a reaction, we've got the wrong angle here, but there's every chance there might have been a reaction from Thomas Tuchel, and indeed the coaches behind him in the eye line.
Can sometimes have an impact, can't it?
Yeah, it can. Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0 is the score. Antonio Conte just running his fingers through that brown hair of his. He's unbeaten still in the Premier League as the Tottenham manager. as Højbjerg plays it forward. Sessegnon's to this, inside the penalty area, still going, but then pulls his shot badly right across the penalty area. I mean, he had support arriving from Bergwijn and from Doherty, but they were nowhere near it.
Good chance, good run from wide, gets the run on Azpilicueta, he's got a good angle. Thiago Silva's coming across, but the final cross comes shot. I think it's a shot, but ends up being more of a cross anyway. It's a bit of a scuff across the goal, would just indicate that the players that have been in good goal scoring opportunities, again Sessegnon not played a lot of games, not scoring with any kind of frequency. The confidence in front of goal in this game at the moment has not been good.
No, from Sessegnon it was neither Nout nor Summit. Højbjerg through to Bergwijn. Now that's a nice touch from Bergwijn, sends the pass diagonally to Kane, which runs down into the full-back position. Kane back to Doherty. Kane on the right wing. Tottenham players arriving in the box. Kane plays it across. Bergwijn with his back to goal, tries to twist. Mount comes in with a challenge. Bergwijn goes down, no free kick. Well, come back to that, because Chelsea are breaking downfield with Ziyech, and Rudiger has stormed forward, and Rudiger's ball to the near post to Lukaku, but Eric Dyer was able to come across, put the challenge in. The two players have collided in there near the corner of the 6-yard box, and the referee says it's Tottenham's ball.
Well played, Eric Dyer does really well, he's in the right position when that ball comes in. Whenever you're playing against Lukaku, you have to get the right side, but the referee's in an absolute spot-on position to make a call on that foul, and I think he's got it right, John. If I'm honest, I think Mason Mount has a right. Bergwijn turns into him, and they just collide shoulder to shoulder. Bergwijn goes down, the referee waves play on, and then the counter-attack comes, but Eric Dyer does well, gets across the face of Lukaku, doesn't allow him that space in front to get any initial touch on the ball, and defends really well.
Bergwijn's done well, he's wriggled away from Ziyech. Now Sessegnon's got the ball on there. Bergwijn's gone down, ball into Kane. Kane turns and scores. Thiago Silva's left on the ground, and the referee says that's because he was fouled by Harry Kane as Kane turned him, and the goal is disallowed. It's a free kick to Chelsea.
Well, I had no clue what was happening there for a moment. Thiago Silva, it was almost like he took a dive forwards. I'll have to see it back, because whether or not Kane just trips him on the way through, the big concern for me is that Bergwijn laid the ball off and is just laid on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, just on his own, just stumbled over.
And he's been brilliant. I think he's been really well at driving at players, but Harry Kane, I mean, did you see that then? He almost trips Thiago Silva over Kane's foot, but I don't think Harry Kane does anything there to instigate that trip. There's a coming together which forces Thiago Silva...
shove in the back.
Was it a two-handed shove?
It's a one-handed shove in the back.
Does it have to be two?
Well, as Matt says, of greater concern actually is Bergwijn, who went down, so he twisted his knee.
Yeah.
And he was trying to sprint forward, and it just fell awkwardly.
Well, he threw himself down. He laid the ball off, had a couple more strides, and then just went down onto the floor. And Bergwijn, I mean, a couple of times he's laid the ball off a little bit too early for me. I think he needs to hold on to it and just drive at Rudiger, run at Thiago Silva. I don't think they quite know how to handle him. He's so bullish when he does that. I mean, he's back up on his feet, but he's a key player for Tottenham at the moment in this game. He's the one player, and there is a bit of a hand shove in the back on Thiago Silva.
Silva's actually running at pace to try to get to the ball, and Harry Kane sort of just
it's not a lot.
It's
not a lot. And Thiago, if he hadn't touched him, Harry Kane, Thiago Silva had over-gambled that ball, and his momentum would have taken him past it anyway. So it's a shame Harry Kane has just touched it. Definitely. He wouldn't have been able to stop in time for Harry Kane to get that ball, and just that little hand on the back from Kane just indicates or gesture that there's a shove, and there probably was a small one, but not enough to make a lot of difference in that chance.
Also, Thiago Silva absolutely goes flying down onto his front, skidding across the penalty area. Ziyech at the other end tries to lay to the edge of the box. Tottenham clear. It is still 0-0. There's been lots to discuss in the first half. Lots of things have happened. And then Thiago Silva leaves Harry Kane on the ground. You can hear the reaction of the Chelsea supporters. They enjoyed that. Just turned him, and Kane stumbled, went down, and Chelsea have got it back inside their own half. 3 minutes to go to half time. At the break, on 5 Live, will hear from, well, we'll find out. Someone, I'm sure, will hear from Crystal Palace and Liverpool after Liverpool's 3-1 win. Tanganga is then tangled with Hudson-Odoi, and remember, Tanganga's already been yellow carded, and then there's a foul on Højbjerg centrally, and it's a free kick for Tottenham.
Well, that was a fraction away from being a carbon copy of the first booking. Hudson-Odoi trying to run him on the outside, Tanganga with his left arm across him. He's got hold of his shirt and shorts, Tanganga, there as well. I mean, Thomas Tuchel going absolutely ballistic in the technical area, you know, squatting down, throwing his hands in the air, because that for me is probably identical to what just happened when Tanganga got booked.
Yeah. Could have been 2 yellow cards for 2 similar offences. Kane gives it to Bergwijn. Bergwijn tried to find Sessegnon.
See, that's where I think Bergwijn, just drive it, Rudiger. Just run it in with the ball. Don't try and offload it. Just go for it.
Kovacic through to Lukaku, who's 25 yards out now, running at the Tottenham penalty area. Hits the shot, but hits it straight into a sliding Eric Dyer, who blocked it away out for a throw down the left.
Yeah, smothered out in the end. Lukaku, really quick transition from Chelsea. Kovacic, lovely through ball. 1v1 with Dyer, but he's got midfield players recovering, and Dyer just stands his ground, doesn't dive in. Lukaku tries to blast one with his left foot across the goal, and it was a good block from Dyer.
Another Chelsea corner. This is their 6th of the first half. Tottenham haven't had any. Ziyech, this is one to the back post, high, which is headed away for Tottenham by Tanganga. Chelsea then played back out towards the left-hand side. Real Madrid have scored twice to make it 2-2 against Elche. Ziyech's ball in, just above everyone inside the box. Had a lovely flight on that. And actually referee Tierney says it took a touch off a Tottenham player in the middle on the way through for another corner.
What a ball. Real teaser from Ziyech. Brilliant. I think he's going to whip it. He's whipped every other cross, but this one he just drills it flat, and it's got this little bit of movement. Very hard to judge where the ball's going. It just dips at the end and just misses Lukaku. I think it skims off Doherty maybe.
Here's the latest Chelsea corner, which is headed up and over the top. I think Thiago Silva it was. He's put his hands on his face, which indicates that it was him. So it's 2 chances for him from corners. It's over the top, and the referee's going to speak to Rudiger and is wagging his finger. Yeah, at the half-time break on 5 Live, we're going to hear from Patrick Vieira after their defeat to Liverpool, but that controversial penalty award at the end, which made it 3-1. Sean Dyche will be on, talking about Burnley's 0-0 at Arsenal, and Brendan Rodgers as well after Leicester's 1-1 at home with Brighton. So that is all to come during half-time.
3 minutes added time.
3 minutes of added time.
Chelsea got a real air of confidence about their corners, haven't they? I mean, they've scored quite a few recently against Tottenham, haven't they, from set pieces and from corners especially. You can tell every time there is a corner, they're nearly winning the first contact or being a real threat.
Mount, who's played mainly on the right-hand side. Sanchez comes across, just knocks the ball away from him, and it's throwing, which Mount takes, and then there's a foul on Azpilicueta, so it's a free kick out on the right-hand side in added time.
I mean, I assume Mount does have a bit of a free role, but he spent a lot of the time out on that right with Ziyech just backing him up. But he's that type of player that has a bit of a licence to float anywhere around that front line.
Yes, when we were consulting, we put him in the middle, didn't we?
Yes, but he has popped up on that right-hand side a lot. But so Ziyech out there as well. So it's that kind of 4-2-2-2 that mixes around. Is quite difficult to gauge where they are on the pitch at times.
I hope you're not going to be wanting an extra consultancy fee. Free kick for Chelsea on the right, and here it is, Ziyech playing it into the back post, but Lloris comes and makes the catch quite comfortably, and the Tottenham fans in their section, the safe standing section down there, just sing his name. So see, he signed his new contract. It's not bad, is it? 2.5-year contract at 35.
There's a goalkeeper, John.
Yes. Doherty heading the ball forward, and then Azpilicueta heading it away, and then it bounces out towards the far side where Mount again takes it out towards that right flank. Sessegnon is there, back it goes to Azpilicueta, and then Jorginho back to Azpilicueta again, and Chelsea just with the ball in the central third. Still 0-0, Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0, half-time in just a matter of seconds. Sarr, that was a talking point of the first half. Certainly went to VAR after Doherty put the challenge in on Sarr's ankle, but they didn't take too long looking at that one and came to the right decision. Lukaku now, he's been a big talking point in the first half after the various misses. Then Hudson-Odoi plays it across. Jorginho, square from him as well. Azpilicueta up to the edge of the area, plays it out to the right-hand side, but it was short from Azpilicueta, and Sessegnon was able to put in the challenge, and it's bounced away towards the halfway line. Burkina Faso are leading 1-0 against Gabon in the first of the matches in the last 16 at the Africa Cup of Nations. Lots of coverage actually on BBC TV as well as the World Service over the course of the remainder of the tournament. Hudson-Odoi down the left hand side against Tanganga. One yellow card, could arguably have received another, and then the referee's whistle goes with Chelsea in possession on the halfway line, and it is 0-0 at half-time. Matt Upson.
Interesting contest, John, I have to say, and
Merrick,
much more even than what we've seen over the Cup semi-finals. I think Spurs have set up differently. They've been able to get more of a foothold in the game in terms of applying pressure to Chelsea, not letting them have the full run of the roost in terms of the middle of the park and the midfield, not look too threatening going the other way, and Chelsea have had a lot of pressure, but it's well poised, well balanced for a second half.
Harry Kane, we can tell he's not very happy that that goal was ruled out, as he wouldn't be.
No.
But he's gone to referee Tierney. Tanganga was there as well, and they were clearly making the point that they feel the referee got it wrong in feeling that Kane fouled Thiago Silva.
It was minuscule contact. The reason why he looked at it is because his hand was hovering around his back and did actually make contact, but Thiago Silva had overcooked. He'd misjudged it in my eyes because he dropped too deep and then couldn't put the brakes on because the ball was cut back. It's very hard to stop when your body weight's going that way to then check, and Harry Kane had all the time in the world. It's frustrating because it was such a good chance, and obviously he put the ball away, but that hand on the back just indicated that there was a little shove, and the referee seen it.
Well, you'll be able to judge that for yourself if you haven't seen it already on Match of the Day tonight. But half-time here at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0. Yes, we are. They've done very well, and very quickly as well. Quicker than some VAR decisions. They have tied up the side of the net. It's okay. We're ready for the second half to begin. You're with us here at Stamford Bridge on BBC 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, BBC Sounds and the World Service as well. It's Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0, and the second half begins with Chelsea kicking off. Blue shirts, blue shorts, white socks, and Tottenham in their first choice colours, the white shirts with the very dark blue shorts and socks. No changes. So Chelsea with Kepa in goal, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Thiago Silva and Sarr are the Chelsea back four. Jorginho and Kovacic, Ziyech, Mount, Hudson-Odoi and Lukaku. And Tottenham also with a back four. Lloris the goalkeeper, Tanganga, Dyer, Sanchez and Davis, Højbjerg and Winks in the middle, Sessegnon on the left, Doherty on the right, and then Bergwijn and Harry Kane. Matthew Upson is watching with us high here in the East Stand at Stamford Bridge on this cold, dry afternoon, and Chelsea are in possession inside their own half. And here is the captain, Azpilicueta, turns and gives it back to Rudiger on the edge of the box. So Chelsea had chances in the first half, but Tottenham aggrieved that the goal, in inverted commas, that we've been talking about, that Harry Kane scored, did not stand. It was ruled out for a push by Kane on Thiago Silva. So that is why it is 0-0, all square. Chelsea, the draw specialists, as you'll probably be aware at the moment. They've drawn 7 of their last 13 Premier League matches. That's why they've slipped off the pace. Rudiger playing the ball out to Sarr on the left-hand side. Sarr, Kovacic comes short, then back to Sarr again. Hudson-Odoi. This will be interesting to see Hudson-Odoi and Tanganga in the second half, and he's away from him down the left-hand side, and he's now cutting in field, and he plays it square to Ziyech. Ziyech onto his left foot, curling shot! It's in! It's gone all the way in! Lloris left it! I think he thought it was going wide, and he was statuesque, the Tottenham captain, as the ball found the top corner and nestled in the back of the Spurs net. Ziyech scores, and it's Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0.
Wow, what a goal. Hakim Ziyech, brilliant finish, but it's all about the movement from Hudson-Odoi with Tanganga, who's on a yellow card. He gets too tight, uses his body brilliantly with his back to him. Hudson-Odoi rolls him on the outside of the pitch, goes outside him. He then feeds the ball to Ziyech. Because of that, he's got a little bit of space. The Spurs players are recovering across the pitch, and he just drops his shoulder, a little touch inside onto his left foot. And wow, what a finish that is. It's got dip, it's got swerve. Hugo Lloris, he just watches it into the top corner. It just drops right over him. He doesn't even attempt to dive, Lloris. It's a brilliant, brilliant finish from Ziyech. And Thomas Tuchel stands there with his fists clenched, punch in the air. It's a brilliant goal.
Chelsea 1-0 up, and this is the sound of Stamford Bridge. They've unfurled a Union flag down in the front row behind Hugo Lloris's goal. It's like last night at the Proms. Kovacic bringing the ball forward towards the edge of the area. Kovacic plays it square to Ziyech, the man who's just scored that goal. And now Azpilicueta across, Mount with a shot on the turn, blocked by Sanchez. Ziyech again, and then this time Lloris got a great sight of that, and diving to his right was able to parry it away.
Well, it's a good job he did get a good sight of it, John, because that was flying, that ball. It ricochets out to him. Such is the confidence, he pings it this time. It's not that same kind of whip or curl. He strikes it with his laces, dead straight. Brilliant save as well, just scurries across. It's a good height for Lloris, but lovely strike again from Ziyech.
So Chelsea leading Tottenham by 1-0. And it was one of those goals actually when it was replayed on the big screen up in the corner to our left, above the shed stand, as it curled and dipped the shot for the goal by Ziyech. There were gasps as it found the top corner, and actually Lloris's reaction almost made it more spectacular, because he was standing sort of half knees bent as the ball's played over the top for Kane at the other end, but Kepa comes out, and Rudiger and Kepa just have a little look at one another. There's a little bit of uncertainty there.
It was lack of reaction, wasn't it, from Lloris, that made it so special. It was a bit of a jaw dropper, wasn't it? Like, you know, that just looped and dropped and had all sorts of movement on the ball.
Yes, it had a little bit of Luis Arconada about it, the old Spanish goalkeeper, when I think it was Michel Platini, wasn't it, who was scoring goals against him.
I thought you just made that up, John, as a phrase for a bit of swerve.
It would be great, wouldn't it? There's an awful pass centre field by Hudson-Odoi. I think he had a bit of Arconada on that as well.
Yeah, a bit of Louis Arconada on that one.
Yeah, and it bounced out of play on the halfway line with no one anywhere near it.
He has to take massive credit though,
Louis Arconada.
Hudson-Odoi, he really does. Tanganga's struggled to contain him. Whenever he's wanted to go on the outside of him, he's had the beating of Tanganga, got the booking in the first half, and he does exactly the same early in the second, really rolls him. That's what creates the overload and the space for Ziyech to step inside and be able to get that shot off.
Chelsea winning a free kick halfway inside their own half, so Chelsea leading Tottenham by 1-0. This is the Premier League on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. BBC Sounds as well, where you can rewind the live radio, and the World Service as well, the BBC World Service with us. Full time in the Champions Cup, Rugby Union, Munster 47, Wasps 7. So the next match underway will be Montpellier-Exeter at 5:30. But on Sports Extra Net, it'll be Manchester City Arsenal from the Women's Super League from 6:45. Chelsea leading through Ziyech's second goal of the week, and what a goal it was as well. That'll be on his reel at the end of his career, won't it? His CV of goals. That was a snorter. I mean, it had a big bend and dip on it. It started high, but then swirled into the top corner.
I mean, from our commentary position as well, John, we were bang on behind it, weren't we? Had a lovely view of how it just curved into the top corner.
I've got to confess, I did think it was going wide initially.
Yeah.
But it just dipped right into the top corner. Might have just kissed the underside of the bar, right in the corner. So Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0. And Hakim Ziyech scoring his 6th goal of the season in all competitions. Throwing to Chelsea, who are now in front yet again against Tottenham, who are still yet to score against Chelsea this season, or indeed in the last 6 meetings against Chelsea. The last 5, I beg your pardon. They've not scored in the last 5 matches against Chelsea. They have never gone 6 matches in a row without scoring against any opponent, Tottenham. Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0, and Chelsea with Ziyech heading the ball in field. Here's Jorginho passing it into the centre circle. Sarra's there, and now Thiago Silva passes the ball to the right. Mount, lovely turn, gives it to Hudson-Odoi, who was involved in the goal. Hudson-Odoi, square back to Mount, left foot shot, that whizzes over the top of the crossbar, and that was not too far away. It's over the top of Lloris. He knew, and he was right, to think that this one was going over.
Cracking football again from Chelsea all round. Mason Mount finds that little space in between, receives it on his back foot, lovely turn, swazzes the ball out wide with his right foot, really good shape on it. It comes back into his left, and just leaning back, not as confident on his left foot in striking from outside the box, but confident enough to have a go, and it was a lovely piece of passing from Chelsea.
8 minutes played in the second half. Chelsea 1 up. How significant do you feel it was? I mentioned the Hudson-Odoi Tanganga. The fact that that's been a contest in this game. Tanganga got booked, and there early in the second half, Hudson-Odoi took him on, went past him. Here he is again. This time it's Dyer who's come across, and he's fouled Hudson-Odoi. And this is a free kick to Chelsea after Dyer's foul on the England man.
He's just looked too sharp, and Dyer does foul him. He complains to the referee, but he gets none of the ball. Hudson-Odoi this time doesn't go round Tanganga. He just pops a little 1-2, plays it inside, and then runs on the outside. He's been really lively on this left-hand side for Chelsea, and he has, as you mentioned, been a real problem for Tanganga. He hasn't coped with him going on the outside. He's set up for him to come inside, which I think you expect with him all the time, coming into his right foot. But on 3 or 4 occasions, he's just gone round the outside of him and able just to put the burners on and get past him.
And Dyer sensed that Tanganga needed his help there.
Came across, and he was too slow as well to deal with him.
He was. So it's a free kick again for Chelsea on the left-hand side. If they get a second goal, it's actually very difficult to see Spurs coming back. Here it is. Mount plays it in. Thiago Silva heads it. It's in. It's 2-0. And yet again, Chelsea have a commanding lead against Tottenham. Thiago Silva with a little glance. He was dropping down to his knees, just got enough on it. And that really rubs Tottenham's nose in it. The fact that it's Thiago Silva who was the man who was involved when Tottenham had their goal ruled out in the first half, who makes it Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0.
Well, I think also, John, it's on the exact same blade of grass almost that the foul took place from Harry Kane in the first half. He makes the run middle of the group. It's poor defending from Tottenham. They don't deal with it. It's a really good delivery from Mason Mount, as you'd expect. But Thiago, it's a straightforward run. He gets across the face of Davinson Sanchez. He doesn't need to do a lot. The pace of the ball is heading towards the goal. It's an in-swinger from the right foot of Mount. He just glances the ball, and the pace bounces off the wet turf into that far corner. Lloris doesn't have a chance really to react in time. He must head the ball from about 8 yards out, Thiago Silva. But it's just a poor piece of defending and a really good delivery that has come together and ended up in a goal.
And Antonio Conte making a change. Lucas Moura coming on, and Oliver Skipp as well. He's taking off Tanganga and Sessegnon are off. Oliver Skipp is on, and so is Lucas Moura. So 2-0 down. Antonio Conte instantly thinking we've got to change it now, and we've just got to go for it.
Well, it's twice. I think Tanganga's getting done every time with Hudson-Odoi. We've touched on it a couple of times, so he's pulled him off and put Doherty back at right back. It looks to be a midfield 3 now with Skipp, Winks and Højbjerg, and he's going to push 3 up with Bergwijn, Kane and Lucas Moura to see if they can put Chelsea under any more pressure. But at the moment, the way this second half has gone, it's been all Chelsea.
2 goals for Chelsea at the start of the second half in the space of 8 minutes, I think it is, 7 or 8 minutes, and Ziyech and then Thiago Silva scoring the goals. Just a little glance. Sanchez was putting a challenge in. Actually, Sanchez leapt high against Thiago Silva, but the Brazilian just made the slightest of contact and was able to deflect it in.
Again, it's not about leaping high. It's about being a bit shrewder in those situations. And Sanchez doesn't have to win that ball necessarily, John. He's just got to get his body across Thiago Silva so he can't head it. You know, body checking, bouncing, use your shoulder, use your body. It's just too easy for him to run in there unopposed and glance the ball in.
And here the Chelsea supporters singing, "It's happening again," to the Tottenham fans. We've got a stoppage. There's a little bit of a discussion going on down there. But when they say it's happening again, this is referring to the fact that they're on course for 4 wins out of 4 this season, 3 wins out of 3 this month, without Tottenham scoring a goal. Here's Kane away down the left-hand side, left-footed cross. That's a great cross. It's headed away by Sarr, still in the box. Shuttle return by Bergwijn, but Kepa, falling to his left, was able to leap onto the ball and clutch it safely.
A really good play from Harry Kane, does well, good strength on the left-hand side, shrugs off a couple of tackles. It's a really good cross with his left foot, and then Skip arrived just about the penalty spot, and he doesn't head it towards goal. He realises he can't score, and he just nods it down to Bergwijn, who has a shot, or a volley across his body, but he just kind of contacts the ball, volleys it into the ground, and is quite comfortable for Kepa in the end. But better from Spurs. It was a good attack.
So Chelsea have taken charge here at Stamford Bridge, despite that little foray there by Tottenham. And Chelsea playing the ball out from the back in front of the Shed stand. Chelsea fans were taunting the Tottenham supporters. Chelsea coming forward again. They've got their eyes on maybe a third goal. Ball slipped into the edge of the box. A stretch, a stoop by Sanchez to get it away. Bounces back to the edge of the Tottenham area, and Dyer is able just to get his forehead to it, to bounce it back to Lloris. So 2-0 to Chelsea. Lines are open for 606. The phone in with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693. Hashtag BBC 606. You can text 85058 if you're a Tottenham fan. I guess you'll want to talk about the goal that Tottenham had ruled out in the first half. Harry Kane pulled up for a push in the back on Thiago Silva, and indeed the earlier matches, most notably the penalty that was given against Crystal Palace right at the end of the game, with Liverpool ending up winning by 3-1. Tottenham with the ball on the halfway line. Sanchez to Højbjerg.
I did hear the statement right on that one, didn't I, John? That they're saying that the Premier League is saying that Guaita affected Jota's ability to play the ball. I find that a bit bizarre.
Yeah, and I think I heard it right.
The ball had gone.
There was a clear error. They felt it was a clear error.
The ball was bouncing out of play. It had gone, and it was out of his control, really. When the contact happened, I think that's the key point. The contact came about, the two bodies collided.
That's the crux of the decision.
And the ball had slipped away from Jota. So, yeah.
Here is Mason Mount, gets another assist for the Thiago Silva goal. Mason Mount, as Chelsea come forward with Ziyech down the right-hand side. He goes down, ball's crossed over, and it's brought back for the foul on Ziyech. Just outside the right corner of the box, another position for Chelsea to threaten with a set piece.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs just haven't coped well enough with wide areas, with the quality that Chelsea have had. I think Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi have been two key players, two key performers in this game today, and they're getting a lot of joy in wide areas. And Davis, Tanganga, who's off the pitch now, and the players who are playing in wide areas, Doherty on one side and Sessegnon, who played the first half, on the other, haven't got to grips well enough in those wide areas.
So Tottenham 2-0 down, facing their first league defeat under Antonio Conte. Ziyech, scorer of the first goal, is going to take this free kick. Antonio Rudiger has gone on a right wander at the far post.
This is dangerous.
Very.
Really dangerous. I mean, the confidence in defending set pieces for Spurs against Chelsea at the moment can't be very high. And you've got a player who's banging form with his left foot, just about to whip this in.
Ziyech has a look, and here's the delivery. It comes off a Tottenham head and is up and over the top of the crossbar. It's Harry Kane's head, that freshly shorn blonde hair, and it's a corner to Chelsea from over on the left-hand side. Ziyech, Chelsea have got Tottenham exactly where they want them.
It was an important touch. Rudiger was just coming in behind Harry Kane. If he hadn't got that glancing header, Rudiger would have made contact with the ball. What I love about those in-swingers, the quality of the Mount one and that one, it takes a tiny touch, John, doesn't it? The pace of the ball is nearly on target. Any kind of little glance just diverts it past the goalkeeper from such close range that they just can't react.
So it's the outswinging corner from the far side. Ziyech to the near post. It's headed up and away by Doherty. Comes out to Hudson-Odoi, who is racing the ball back towards the halfway line. Bergwijn chasing him, so he actually uses Kepa at the other end. Harry Kane sprints forward to try and put him under pressure, but Kepa just plants it away downfield and actually gives possession back to Tottenham. So Chelsea 2-0 up, and Burkina Faso 1, Gabon 1 was the score at the end of the 90 minutes. So that last 16 match at the Africa Cup of Nations has gone to extra time. Tottenham with Harry Winks forward to Lucas Moura, the substitute, but he loses possession, misplaces his pass. Hudson-Odoi out on the left-hand side again. Spurs players all around him. It's out of play. Referee Tierney says the final touch was a Tottenham touch, and it's a throw-in to the home side, to the European champions. They'll be back in Champions League action next month. We'll bring you all of the commentaries. Chelsea will be playing against Lille in the knockout stages. And actually it was interesting, wasn't it, this week, Thomas Tuchel talking about how some key players, if the French regulations stay as they are, there'll be some key players who are not vaccinated who will not be able to go to France for the first leg of that tie, for the second leg of that tie. Chelsea winning the ball back inside their own half. The ball's passed forward towards Kovacic, and now Jorginho again. Lukaku making a run through the middle, but the ball comes wide here to Azpilicueta. Ziyech standing near the white line, now cutting in field, goes past Davis on his left foot. Very nearly found the pass through to Lukaku, and that was an almighty stretch by Davinson Sanchez with his left foot. He's almost on the verge of doing the splits at one stage, but got his foot to it. Chelsea win it back again in the centre circle. Jorginho is bundled over by Harry Kane, and it's a free kick, and everything's going Chelsea's way.
They're so on top at the moment. Thiago Silva there, just anticipating that pass, stepping in front, winning the ball back.
Hudson-Odoi now crossing from the left-hand side with his right foot. That's headed away. It comes out for Ziyech with a shot with the right foot this time, which didn't have the same venom, and Lloris was able to just pat this down in front of his throat.
Yeah, I just feel that Chelsea are anticipating the game a lot better. It's another instance.
Mount all over Højbjerg. He's won the ball back, but the recovering Højbjerg is able to get a foot in and block the ball behind for a Chelsea corner.
There's been a noticeable shift. Spurs are looking a little bit flat, a little bit lack of ideas or conviction about what they're doing. And Chelsea are the exact opposite. They're rampant at the moment, especially out of possession. They've got the confidence to step in front, read the play, take a bit of a gamble. They're winning the ball high up the pitch. Centre-backs are reading it and winning it. It's very much in control at the moment.
Got another interesting scoreline coming in from Europe in a moment for you, Matt.
Oh yeah?
But Chelsea have got this corner. You're going to have to wait for it, like everyone else. Chelsea have got this corner from the left-hand side. Referee Tierney has had a right job on his hands from all of these Chelsea corners all the way through the game. He's handed out some lectures, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Rudiger and Eric Dyer.
It's not really doing the job though, John, is it?
Not really.
It's not really stopping, is it?
No, it's not. No. So it's a corner for Chelsea. And two players have gone down on the far post, and the referee's given it Tottenham's way. And Cesar Azpilicueta was the Chelsea player in question. Oliver Skipp was the Tottenham man, and well, we're now seeing the replay, Matt, so pick the bones out of this wrestling match that we're watching.
Well, yeah, it's one of those. I mean, I don't like Skipp's position. I don't like any position when you're defending a set piece, when you're just focused on the man and not where the ball is. I think there's got to be a combination of the two, but it was very much Azpilicueta trying to bulldoze his way through Skipp's position, and Skipp just stood his ground. And I think, having your arms wrapped round someone is never a good look when you're a defender in your own penalty box, and you're always running the risk of giving away a penalty or what have you. But I think Azpilicueta just tried to run through Skipp's space then.
Oh, that's a good pass from Ziyech downfield. Hudson-Odoi almost under this. Lloris comes, he's headed it, but he's headed it into his own man, Doherty, and it's bounced for Tottenham, and Doherty turns and plays it into the chest of Hudson-Odoi, and it bounces behind for a goal kick. Well, that could have been calamitous.
He put the brakes on Hudson-Odoi, didn't he? I thought he was going to go all out. It bounced, and it was almost 50-50 at that point, but the momentum of the ball, the speed of the ball, just took it away from Hudson-Odoi as Lloris came out with a diving header, had to head the ball straight into his own recovering defender Doherty, and it ricocheted back towards the goal. It could have been a real calamitous situation.
That scoreline from Europe involves a former manager of these two teams, Harry Kane, playing the ball back towards the edge of the area.
The suspense is killing me, John.
And it is Jose Mourinho's Roma off 4-0 up away from home against Empoli. They haven't been having things their way by any means, but winning 4-0 at half-time in their match.
At half-time?
Yeah, half-time. There's... I wonder if Tammy Abraham's involved in the goals there. There's every chance that he might be. As Sarr brings the ball forward and gives it to Kovacic. Kovacic right for the ball from the angle through to Lukaku. Lukaku beats Sanchez to his left, shoots, and it's saved by Lloris. Quite close to him, but he hit that with some force. Romelu Lukaku, and it was a lovely turn actually to take him away from Sanchez too. Tottenham on the halfway line. Bergwijn rolls it across. Now Skip's taking it on. Tottenham approaching the area. Skip gives it to his right, and then Doherty with the shot that referee Tierney says took a flick off Sarr on the way over the top, and Tottenham have got their first corner of the match.
Well played. Sarr does really well, because that was very much a situation where as a defender you're outnumbered, and he stays narrow. The moment the ball gets put wide from Skip, he really recovers. But I'm just looking at that Lukaku chance. It was very Lukaku-esque, wasn't it? When the ball rolls in, Sanchez has dropped deep, and when he's got, his frame is that big that as a centre-back you can't see the ball. So when it's rolling into him, he drops his shoulder and goes the other way, and you can't see where the ball's gone. Gets that yard onto his left foot, decent strike, quite straight to Lloris, but much better from Lukaku.
Tottenham's first corner, but they're 2-0 down, and it's easily cleared away by Hudson-Odoi at the near post, and out of play it goes for a throw-in to Spurs. So it is the break next weekend, and the weekend after that it's the FA Cup, when we'll bring you a whole selection of commentaries on 5 Live, and indeed the World Service on the Saturday, Sunday and the Monday. And Plymouth Argyle will be coming here. I saw the sign outside the ground that says it's sold out, that match, Chelsea against Plymouth. And Tottenham have got the All Premier League match against Brighton, which I think is a very decent tie actually. Here's Davis for Tottenham, but Chelsea have won it back, and Chelsea will break away. And here's Mount, and Lukaku makes the run, but the ball goes to Kovacic. Kovacic tries to work it through the middle. It's bounced off Dyer, and he just got there on the follow-up. Winks now having Kovacic snapping away at him. That is a free kick, and Winks just shields the ball from Mason Mount. There's a bit of push and pull there as well, but it's a free kick. And I see Tottenham are preparing their third substitute already. Free kick though taken. Kane heads it infield, bounces to Rudiger, who got right underneath that and walloped it away out of play on the halfway line.
Well, that was only going to go in one place. The moment that dropped there, Rudiger recovering across, took great pleasure in just booting that ball up the pitch, out of play and into the stand. And I think it's Reguilon, isn't it? I've seen just
Reguilon's coming on. I thought I saw Bergwijn's number 23
maybe
on the board, but no, the change is not being made yet. So Bergwijn is still on the field. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0. So Chelsea, this would take them back up to within a point of Liverpool, who themselves have closed to within 9 points of the leaders, but Liverpool do have one game in hand after their win at Crystal Palace earlier. Tottenham with the ball inside the Chelsea half. Lucas Moura, square from him to Højbjerg, who's got a new shirt for the second half, all cleaned up. Back it goes to the halfway line.
I didn't even notice that, John.
Yeah,
keeping a sharp eye on his washing there, aren't you?
Well, he had a big muddy...
Was it bothering you?
The Tottenham play it forward. Ziyech is able to get his head to it on the edge of the penalty area, and then it bounces infield, and actually it bounces to Bergwijn, and now back to Højbjerg. Højbjerg angles it in, but just beyond the run of Doherty. Anticipated it well spotted by Højbjerg actually as well, but just ran away from Doherty across the face of his body.
It was a really good pass from Højbjerg as the ball comes out. He just sees the run. It goes through about 3 or 4 bodies. It just arrows between the gap, and just too much pace on it for Doherty to get on the end of it.
It's Chelsea change next. And it is Kante coming on to replace Jorginho, so that is a straight swap, obviously. Just while they make this change, I just want to mention the fact Chelsea's players are all wearing black armbands today, which is a really nice gesture from Chelsea Football Club. It's a tribute to the memory of Richard Bignell, who died very recently and was, as the club says, much loved at Chelsea. He worked for many years within Chelsea TV, and the Chelsea chairman Bruce Buck described Richard Bignell as an all-round good guy. So a really nice touch from Chelsea to wear black armbands to remember him. So the change is made, and I'm just wondering here, referee's going across to Antonio Rudiger, who I think has drawn his attention to the fact that something's been thrown onto the field.
It's by the Tottenham away fans there, isn't it?
The Spurs fans are in there, and it looks as though things have been thrown, so we've got this issue rearing its head again. And referee Tierney has spoken to Rudiger, who looks unhappy about this, and has reported it to the referee. And Paul Tierney has now gone to the fourth official and spoken to the fourth official. So whether there will be an announcement or not, I don't know. Andrew Madley, who is the fourth official here for this match. Rudiger picked up a couple of items. They weren't bottles, it was something smaller than that.
I mean, was it a Goodison yesterday? Villa, wasn't it? That was really unsightly.
Yeah, Cash and Digne both hit by bottles. So this really is a continuing and worrying issue. Things being thrown onto the pitch at footballers by supporters in the stands. And we had all of those months and without spectators inside the ground. All we wanted was for fans to come back, and now some people are coming back and throwing things onto the pitch, which we could do without. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0, 15 minutes to play. Lucas Moura. Tottenham just have to think, well, first thing is, let's get a goal against Chelsea this season, and then see where we are. And there was a spell when it was 2-0 that it looked as though a third goal was just almost inevitable. But Antonio Conte's made his changes now, and things have tightened up a little bit. Ziyech now playing the ball through the middle, but that's volleyed away by Dyer. Then in the centre circle, Kovacic wins his header. Lukaku's onto this, gets there ahead of Dyer. Now here's the danger man, Hudson-Odoi again on the left-hand side. Kovacic, and Chelsea go back into their own half, all the way back to centre.
That there is what they've done better in the second half, Chelsea. They've started to dominate those loose balls. The midfield players are onto them quicker. Tottenham haven't quite been as well organised or as well spaced and balanced to combat that. And Lukaku's just dropping short, getting hold of the ball, setting it back. Anything dropped in there, he blocks centre-backs coming around him so well. His frame is so big that he can just nudge people out of the way and receive passes or get hold of balls that other players can't.
Chelsea still in possession. Ziyech and Thiago Silva having scored the goals in the second half. Mount, low ball into Lukaku in the D. He gives it to Hudson-Odoi running at Doherty inside the box. Then he turns away, skips not too far away as well, and they're forcing Hudson-Odoi wide. And he plays it now back to Kovacic, 30 yards out. And then Kante in this place pass, but it bounces off Bergwijn. And Ziyech now through to Mount. Lloris has come out, and the angle was very tight, but Lloris did well actually. Had to be positive he was, blocked it away. Chelsea coming again though. Azpilicueta inside the box. He takes on Davis, beats him, and then it flicks off Davis's outstretched shin into the side netting. And it's a corner, not too far away from where that hole was in the net at the start of the second half. So it's just as well they fixed it.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that 2.5-year contract Lloris has just signed. Well, he was not showing any signs of slowing down coming out there, was he? He looked very sprightly, very bright off his line, good early decision, good couple of strides out to get down and block the ball. It was important as well, because if Mount had just lifted that over him, Spurs were in big trouble. It was good goalkeeping from Lloris.
Yet another Chelsea corner though. Mount from the right, in front of the Matthew Harding stand, to the edge of the 6-yard box where it is headed away, unchallenged. Harry Kane got there first, and then Bergwijn is shoved off the pitch by Hudson-Odoi, and it's a free kick to Tottenham. halfway inside their own half. Is it?
Back to
Yes, it is.
Højbjerg's shirt. You don't strike me as the type of man that likes to splodge on a white shirt when you go out, John.
What I do like, and it's been a bit of an issue recently, is to actually be able to see the numbers on the backs of shirts.
Right, okay.
After Arsenal turned out at Nottingham Forest in the FA
That's
Cup.
right, yes. That was very, very tricky, wasn't it?
Well,
all in white with white numbers.
It was a brilliant cause
really good.
against knife crime to raise awareness, but it was not easy for the commentators.
No, it wasn't.
That day. And the day before, I watched Reading when they lost in the FA Cup at Kidderminster, and their numbers, I think you can probably see them if you're holding up the shirt right in front of your face. Here's Kante playing it back into his own half to Thiago Silva. Then back to Rudiger to his right. Chelsea in control here with the scoreline of 2-0. Lines are open for 606 to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton as ever. Lots and lots to discuss on this Premier League footballing weekend. So 08085 909 693, and we've got a stoppage because Hudson-Odoi has gone down halfway inside the Tottenham half. Not sure what happened there.
Doherty got out quickly. Hudson-Odoi controlled the ball. Doherty got out quickly and just really caught him with his forearm in his jaw. It was actually a really aggressive piece of defending. He blocked the ball, but his follow through with his arm just caught Hudson-Odoi very much like a forearm / elbow blow, a little bit UFC style actually.
Well, he was involved in the incident in the first half.
Which
was an accidental step on Sarr.
Yeah, but at last, you know, somebody's got out there. That ball's got played out to Hudson-Odoi, and Doherty's decided that he's going to get out and put pressure on his first touch. There hasn't been enough of that from Tottenham. They've allowed him to build up that header speed, get his head up, make a decision. All right, which way am I going to go? Inside, outside. He went out quickly and dealt with his first touch, which at times can be the best decision.
Well, he's okay, Hudson-Odoi. Just going back to this tribute to Richard Bignell today, I think it's a really lovely touch, and the main media man here at Chelsea, Adrian, was telling me that he was a big fan of Wycombe Wanderers, so I know Wycombe fans will appreciate the gesture as well, remembering Richard Bignell today at Chelsea Football Club. So Chelsea leading Tottenham by 2-0, and on course for what will be their first win in the Premier League in 2022, actually. Sanchez holds off Mason Mount. He's had an effective, good game, hasn't he, Mason Mount, again today. He's just involved, isn't he?
Yeah.
So often.
Yeah, he looks really fit, in good shape, very active. He's been really busy all game, making himself available.
And here he is again, Mount near the halfway line, playing it forward to Lukaku, who's down the right-hand side, and he's into the box now, and he's up against Dyer, but then white shirts converge on him. However, the ball bounces back to Lukaku. Now Ziyech running at Sanchez, gets the cross in right-footed, but too close to goalkeeper Loris. Made a catch easily just above his head.
Was that another example of trying to do too much from Lukaku, like desperate? He was doing the step overs, waiting for something to happen. He could have offloaded the ball earlier, and the longer he held it, as you mentioned, those white shirts got back and smothered it out, and in the end it was a little bit clumsy, wasn't it, from the Chelsea striker, that you just feel that he's really desperate to have an impact now, and he's trying everything. Sometimes it's best just to keep it simple, do the simple things really, really well, and it'll come. It might take a bit longer, but I think that you can tie yourself in knots at times trying things that end up being too complicated.
It's a consistent call from referee Tierney in the centre circle, giving a free kick for Tottenham to Harry Kane when he got a little shove in the back from Azpilicueta. Now Tottenham, ball down the right-hand side, but Thiago Silva was there and able to slide and clear it away towards the halfway line. Then it bounces in the middle of the half. Eric Dyer got his head to it, bounces away down into the left-back position, and Sarr is hoping that ball is going to run out of play, and it's actually it has filled over the white line.
I think he gave offside, because I think Skip left it thinking he was offside, and Sarr thought, okay, I'll let it roll. And then Skip almost couldn't deal with that and thought, I can't not go and pressurise the ball. Once he went and engaged, then the flag came up for offside.
So Chelsea winning 2-0, 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC Sounds as well, which of course is where you'll be able to download the latest 5 Live Football Daily podcast in the morning, Fantasy 606 as well on there. And tonight on Sports Extra, you will be able to hear the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at home to the LA Rams this evening. That's on 5 Live Sports Extra round about 9 o'clock. And Tennis Breakfast live from Melbourne Park is back on 7 o'clock in the morning on Sports Extra. 2-0 to Chelsea. Could have been different if that Harry Kane goal had been allowed in the first half. That's what we'll be hearing about, I'm sure, from Antonio Conte and Tottenham fans after the match. But Chelsea have taken charge in the second half, and then Bergwijn gets his legs taken away from him by Azpilicueta, and it is a free kick to Spurs, who are finally going to make the third change.
I think there's been a few inconsistencies in the referee decisions in this game. There's a couple of harsh yellow cards and maybe a couple of tackles that you think have been a yellow card. It's been a funny game in that sense to for the officials, I feel.
Yeah, that there has been, but how often we say that?
Yeah.
Ziyech playing it forward to Kovacic. Højbjerg comes across. Tottenham have won it back. Skip. Spurs haven't given this up yet with the body language that they have. You'd expect that of an Antonio Conte team. Cross from Doherty is straight at Kante on the edge of the area, and Kovacic will receive it. And the two of them, two little midfield men, Kovacic and Kante, scampering towards the halfway line with the ball, but Kante is dispossessed.
I mean, there's some energy in there, isn't there? When you look at how both of them play. Kovacic nearly tries to cover every blade of grass, and Kante.
Kane, low ball in. Bergwijn with a shot, mishit it, and the ball just bounces through to Kepa, who's able to take that very easily.
Yeah, another piece of just poor execution, really, in front of goal. It's quite a nice ball in. He gets a little bit of time. Azpilicueta's not happy defensively. He has too much ground to cover. He says he's got 2 men at the back post, but Bergwijn just doesn't strike it. Just cuffs the ball into the ground. It just bounces harmlessly towards Kepa.
Here's Lukaku. Lukaku, 30 yards from goal. Plays the ball to the left-hand side. Warm applause from that for the Chelsea supporters. Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi are over there. And then Sarr plays it back towards the centre circle. Forward again to Kante. Kante takes on Winks, but the ball runs away. And Tottenham have got it again in front of their own penalty area, but Højbjerg a little short with the pass back to Lloris, but he was able to clear it away towards the halfway line. Just over 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go. Mind you, don't forget, we shouldn't overlook the fact that Tottenham were losing with 4 minutes and 52 seconds of added time on Wednesday night at Leicester and ended up winning the game.
Well, Bergwijn's still on the pitch.
Bergwijn's still on the pitch.
Can happen, John.
Twice in a week. Lightning striking twice. Here's Moura carrying the ball from the centre circle, playing the ball through. Rudiger just had to readjust and lifted it behind. And Chelsea, Rudiger, I think he's suggesting that was a wake-up call for Chelsea.
Well, you're right in that Tottenham haven't given this up, and you wouldn't expect them to with the size of the game and Antonio Conte, but also Thomas Tuchel very critical in the second semi-final about his team's concentration, about allowing Tottenham into the game, allowing them opportunities, and they're slowly slipping into that trap. Chelsea, it's been a little bit too comfortable, and I think Rudiger just reminded his teammates of that.
Tottenham get a goal back, they might believe something could be done. The corner is headed goalwards, and Kepa, diving to his left, is able to push it round the post. Oh, I think he's hurt himself in the process. Very good save, but whether he collided with the post, and he's lying on his back, his legs are going up in the air, and he's called for some assistance.
He's hurt his left hand or finger in making that save as the header comes in, and Harry Kane he heads it back across the goal, and it's a brilliant save from Kepa to his left. He has to react and just dive. It's a nice height for him. It's a good reaction. Yes, that's exactly what it is. He catches his finger in the net right at the bottom of the post, so at the foot of the post, as he lands, he just catches his little finger in that and signals straight away to the bench that he's hurt his hand and he's okay to carry on. But
it's okay, they actually the medical people have actually not even come on to see him. And Chelsea are making another change, defending the corner, but Marcos Alonso is coming on, and Hudson-Odoi has had a very good afternoon. He's left the field behind the goal, and he's walking actually in front of the Tottenham fans on his way back round here. Spurs are going to make a change too, but not just yet. It's Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0, and we've got 3 minutes of the 90 to play. And here's the latest Spurs corner. Comes off a Chelsea head, then is hooked away by Ziyech near the edge of the penalty area. Skip plays it back out towards the far side. Lucas Moura is there. Spurs have left everyone up. And Højbjerg, low ball forward. Alonso into the action. Is able to put in the challenge on Doherty. And Chelsea have got it inside their own half. Callum Hudson-Odoi receiving applause from everyone down in front of us in the East Stand. Chelsea in possession inside their own half. Kante to the left-hand side. Alonso. Højbjerg across, and the ball rolls out of play for a throw-in.
Sar's been good as well, John. I'll say. I think he's another player, he's only been a real squad bit part player up to now. Last probably 5 or 6 games he's really featured heavily, but he's done really well to get across in that left back position as well in a back four, because Alonso isn't the most trusted in a back four, so to have him available, and he's done very well, been very solid and used the ball well too.
Yep, the birthday boy, 23 today. It's only his 10th appearance for the Chelsea first team. He's one of those Chelsea players who've been out on loan, but he's played central defence, played left back today again against Tottenham. Brian Hill has come on for Tottenham, and that is Antonio Conte's final change. Harry Winks making way for him. Still 2-0 to Chelsea. Final minutes of this Premier League match. Lucas Moura playing it back to Davis. So Steven Bergwijn, who'd seen might be coming off at one stage, is going to play the whole match. And then Lucas Moura couldn't find the pass through for Harry Kane. He made the run, the angled run towards the byline, but even with the slide couldn't get there. And it is a goal kick to Chelsea.
There's a little bit of cramp in the middle of the park. Is that Ziyech? Just gone down, getting his hamstring and calf stretched out by Kante. He's put a shift in as well, hasn't he? Ziyech, an important player for Chelsea. Again, been injured a bit part season, really, hasn't it? A player that they haven't really been able to get up to full form and be able to hold it there.
So it looks as though it's going to be an important win for Chelsea, who will have been aware of the fact that Tottenham, if they were able to win here, win their games in hand, could be a real threat for a place in the top 4. So this has been an important one for them, and I think as well after the recent run, they've taken just 8 points from the last 21 available. They've had this string of draws in the Premier League, not one here in the Premier League since the match against Leeds in the first half of December. But it looks as though it is going to be a win today. Ziyech he's received his treatment, and we're now ticking into added time. And Ziyech is going to be replaced, and he's getting a standing ovation, Hakim Ziyech, for the role that he's played today. And in fact, more than that, Thomas Tuchel comes across and gives him a warm-up brace and gives him a double pat on the back as well. Scored a wonderful opening goal early in the second half.
Well, he deserves it, Ziyech, and not just for the goal, which was the wow moment of the match. It's just about his overall contribution. He's been keen to receive the ball. He's made clever runs. He's really done well coming inside onto that left foot. Some of his deliveries he's put in have been brilliant. So really strong game from him and Hudson-Odoi. I thought both wide players for Chelsea have been excellent.
So into added time we go. Already a minute played with the substitution being made. Chelsea passing the ball out from the back. White shirts herring around. Long left-footed clearance from Sarr into the Tottenham half. We're playing 5 minutes of added time. Long ball forward for Tottenham, and then it's headed back by a sliding Azpilicueta to goalkeeper Kepa.
I got one of those so horribly wrong once away at Middlesbrough, John. It was embarrassing. I'll never forget it. And I ended up diving it. The ball's that low, you're trying to head it back to your keeper, because you want to obviously pass it to your keeper so he can pick it up. And you misjudge that, and you end up with dragging your nose through the turf and not getting anything on the ball is very embarrassing.
So I'm sure the good people of Middlesbrough didn't make too much of it.
They loved it. Steve Bruce didn't like it though.
Kante playing the ball up towards Lukaku. It's been a good day for Chelsea, good day for Thomas Tuchel, but I'm afraid not such a good day for Romelu Lukaku again. He had a number of chances in the first half, and again just really searching, struggling for form.
I think searching's a great word. It really is, and when you go searching like that, it doesn't look easy, does it? You know, and I think when you look at players that are on their pomp, it's effortless. They know what they're doing, they're calm, they're comfortable, they make clean decisions, and I think it's all a little bit hazy for him in terms of what he needs to. He knows that he needs to have more impact and score some goals, but I think it can start to get confusing, and you see that at times in his performance.
So 2-0 it is. Lukaku is going to play the whole match. We've not seen Werner or Havertz, who are on the bench. So despite this, you know, still he is looking for that right blend up front. Thomas Tuchel. Here is Lukaku. Ball bounces to Kovacic, and Bergwijn puts the tackle in. But he is strong and wiry, Kovacic, isn't he? I know this match is being shown on Croatian television today. They'll have enjoyed the performance again of the Croatian international, Kovacic.
I think he hits top speed as well. I think a lot of the players, from what I've heard, is one of the quickest in the group. Really powerful runner, very dynamic player, and he's got the fitness levels as well to be able to repeat those type of sprints.
Chelsea are managing this very well now. There's a suggestion that Tottenham might be able to find a little foothold, but Chelsea coming forward again. Mount back to Sarr. Now Alonso, square to Kante. Kante then goes around Skip. No, he doesn't. Skip puts in the challenge. Rudiger, they wanted him to have a go, Rudiger, but no, he was quickly closed down by Skip. Here's Azpilicueta on the left-hand side. The question now is whether Chelsea are going to be able to match their 3-0 win at Tottenham in the Premier League earlier this season. Rudiger takes it on. No, he's being pulled up for a foul on Davis, and it's Spurs free kick.
He's just Rudiger to watch. It's unbelievable, really. He tries a little bit of skill, and then when he doesn't come off, he's just reaction to win the ball. But the crowd love it. He's all over the players, fouling, jostling, and then the amount of times I've seen him smash the ball into someone once the whistle's gone. You know, he's definitely that type of antagonistic player that's very difficult to play against, but so effective.
Yeah, going to be really interesting to see whether he is a Chelsea player next season, and if not, where he ends up. Alonso puts in the challenge, and the referee's brought it back because Azpilicueta has sat down with a problem now. So now Azpilicueta's got a bit of cramp, I think. So it's.
I think the build-up of games has affected the last 20 minutes, John. I mean, like you say, that Chelsea look like they're going to run away with it after the second goal, and then Tottenham have little moments and edge back into the game, haven't they?
Well, all of these stoppages, all of these little stoppages have just broken up any momentum that Tottenham might have been able to get going. It's actually given us a Tottenham free kick centre field. Davis curls it into the box. It's headed across the area, but Rudiger's underneath that to half volley it away to comparative safety. And then Tottenham use Lloris. But we've had the 5 minutes of added time now. Chelsea just a matter of seconds from confirming this latest victory against Tottenham. Lucas Moura curling the ball into the centre circle. There it is, there's the final whistle. Chelsea have beaten Tottenham by 2-0. They've beaten them 3 times this month, and they've beaten them 4 times this season, and Tottenham have not been able to muster a single goal in that time. But Spurs will feel that they were hard done to today, and indeed Harry Kane is talking to the referee as I speak here. That was a pivotal moment, a crucial moment, when Harry Kane's goal was ruled out in the first half, and Chelsea shrugged that off and won 2-0, Matt Upson.
Yeah, that decision aside, John, I mean, it's the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Chelsea came out after that half-time break just in far better mindset, mentality. They were aggressive, they were decisive. They caught Spurs a little bit cold, I have to say. Hudson-Odoi especially caught Tanganga a little bit cold a couple of times, managed to do something special. Great moment from Ziyech, brilliant goal that really did spark the display from Chelsea. But overall, you have to say they thoroughly deserve the victory, and again just another indication that in this fixture they've just got Spurs' number and they're capable of being quite comfortable in victory.
Yep, so it is Chelsea's first Premier League win since Boxing Day. Those goals from Hakim Ziyech and Thiago Silva, and Antonio Conte against Chelsea, his former club. As Matt Upson says, they've done a number on him in this match, and it is Tottenham's first defeat in the Premier League under Antonio Conte's management, in his 10th league match as their coach. So the final score here at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0.